What if the most powerful force in human history wasn't a weapon, an empire, or some grand ideology, but a melody? Sounds a little crazy, right? But what if a simple song could help bring down a regime? What if a rhythm could build an empire? And what if a single harmony could define exactly who we are? Throughout our entire story, from bloody battlefields to joyful city squares, music has been so much more than just background noise. It's been a weapon, a tool, and a shield. It is a quiet force that has shaped our world in ways we're only now beginning to fully appreciate. So, forget what you think you know about history. The real story has a soundtrack. Let's travel back for a second. Picture the streets of Paris during the French Revolution. In all the chaos and cries for liberty, one song cuts through the noise, La Marseillaise. This wasn't just a catchy marching tune, it was a promise, a full-throated declaration of war against tyranny, sung by revolutionaries who believed in every single note. Now let's jump to the 1980s. We're in the Baltic States, living under the shadow of the Soviet Union. Here, a revolution is happening not with guns, but with voices. They called it the Singing Revolution, where hundreds of thousands of people gathered to sing forbidden folk songs. It was a peaceful, yet completely unbreakable act of defiance that helped three nations win their independence. And look, these aren't just flukes. They're powerful examples of a pattern we see over and over again in human history. Music has this incredible power to bring people together, shape their identity, and give them the guts to stand up for what they believe in. Long before we had official national anthems, music was the invisible glue holding communities together. In ancient Greece, music wasn't just for parties. It was a pillar of education and public life, and they believed it had the power to actually shape a person's moral character. A society's music was basically a mirror to its soul. This power to build an identity is crystal clear when you look at the birth of national anthems. These aren't just songs we play at sporting events, they're cultural blueprints. They tell the story of a nation, its struggles, its wins, its values, and create a shared story that gets passed down through generations. A perfect example is Nkosi Sikelel iAfrika, or God Bless Africa. This song started out as a church hymn, but grew into a powerful anthem of resistance against apartheid in South Africa. In a country that was brutally torn apart by law, singing this song was a radical act of unity. It was a defiant shout that a shared identity existed, one that went way beyond race. When people sing together, something amazing happens. It's not just in your head, there's a real psychological reason we feel so connected. Moving and making music in sync with other people creates a powerful sense of group bonding. It makes you feel like you belong to something bigger and stronger than just yourself. This isn't just a feeling, it's a biological and social phenomenon that leaders and nations have used for centuries. Music helps us draw the line between us and them, creating a bond that can build nations, keep traditions alive, and celebrate who we are, even when the odds are stacked against us. But if music can build a nation up, it can also be the thing that tears an unjust one down. When people are oppressed, ignored, or have their rights stripped away, music often becomes their sharpest weapon. It's a weapon that doesn't need bullets, just belief. And when you think of protests, it's hard not to think of the American Civil Rights Movement. Songs like We Shall Overcome literally became the movement's anthem, a powerful hymn sung on marches, in churches, and even inside jail cells. It was adapted from an old gospel tune and gave people a sense of moral clarity and courage when they were facing down pure hatred. But it was more than just one song. Sam Cooke's beautiful ballad, A Change Is Gonna Come, written after he and his band were disgustingly turned away from a whites-only motel, captured both deep pain and a stubborn hope for a better world. And Nina Simone's furious, explosive track Mississippi Goddamn was a raw scream of frustration at the painfully slow pace of change, written after the bombing of a church in Alabama killed 4 young black girls. These songs didn't just lift spirits. They were organizing tools that built a sense of community and determination among activists. This pattern pops up everywhere in history. During the Vietnam War, artists like Bob Dylan with Blowin' in the Wind and Buffalo Springfield with For What It's Worth gave voice to the anxiety and anger of a generation. Their music became the soundtrack for peace. In the global fight against apartheid, musicians like Miriam Makeba and Hugh Masekela became international messengers, taking the story of South African oppression to the world and drumming up support. Songs could be so powerful they were considered dangerous. The anti-lynching anthem Strange Fruit, first performed by Billie Holiday back in 1939, was so controversial that her own record label refused to record it. Its haunting description of racial violence forced listeners to face a horrifying reality. And this tradition is still very much alive. From the Arab Spring to the Black Lives Matter movement, music is a key tool for getting people out into the streets. Kendrick Lamar's song, All Right, became an unofficial anthem for Black Lives Matter protesters, a declaration of hope and strength in the face of injustice. So whether it's folk music in the labor movements, punk rock screaming at the establishment, or hip-hop giving a voice to forgotten communities, music consistently writes the script for revolution. It lets people articulate their struggles, unite their voices, and demand change, proving over and over that a protest song can echo a lot louder than any politician's speech. But here's the thing about music's power: it's neutral. It's a tool, and any tool can be used to build or break. For every song of protest, there's a melody of power. For every anthem of the people, there's a symphony for the state. Empires and powerful regimes have always known that music can be used to project strength, legitimize their rule, and keep everyone in line. Just think of the Roman legions, marching in perfect time to the beat of their drums. That wasn't just to keep everyone in step. It was a terrifying display of discipline, unity, and overwhelming power. The sound of a marching army was the sound of conquest. In ancient China, the emperor created a music bureau. Its job was to collect songs from all over the empire, not just for entertainment, but as a kind of political weather report. They believed the music of the common people revealed the health of the state. A wise ruler could listen and govern better. Music was a centralizing force, controlled by the court to reflect the power of the empire itself. Jump ahead to the fancy courts of Baroque Europe. The incredible operas and complex music from composers like Jean-Baptiste Lully at the court of King Louis XIV weren't just pretty tunes. They were political propaganda. The grandeur and order in the music were meant to mirror the perfection and absolute power of the king. Going to a court concert wasn't just a fun night out, it was a reminder of who was in charge. This use of music as a form of soft power didn't stop there. During the Cold War, the US government famously sponsored world tours for jazz musicians like Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie. The mission? To show off the freedom, creativity, and cultural vibrancy of American democracy, a stark contrast to the rigid, state-controlled art of the Soviet Union. It was a cultural battle fought with trumpets and saxophones instead of tanks and missiles. From the soaring patriotic music in war movies to the carefully crafted pop music used to sell a certain national image, the state uses music to build a story of national greatness. It can create national pride just as easily as it can fuel protest, which just goes to show how incredibly versatile it is in shaping our world. The story of music is the story of us, in all our messy, complicated glory. And that story is being written right now, every single day. So what do you think? What songs are defining this moment in history? What melody will people in the future listen to when they want to understand our time? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this trip through history changed the way you hear the world, even just a little bit, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into the hidden forces that shape our lives. From the first chants of our ancient ancestors to the digital streams that connect our entire planet, music has always been there. It's been a mirror, showing us our greatest achievements and our deepest flaws. But as we've seen, it's not just a mirror, it's an engine. It's a force that can turn strangers into a community, give courage to the afraid, and a voice to the voiceless. It's been there for the birth of nations, the collapse of empires, and the start of revolutions. The power of music is in its unique ability to sneak past our logical minds and speak directly to our hearts, creating emotional connections that jump across language, culture, and even time itself. It's proof that sometimes the biggest changes in history don't start with a speech or a battle, but with a simple, unforgettable melody. So what do you think? What songs are defining this moment in history? Which melody will future generations play to understand our time? Thank you for watching. Our channel, known as the Renaissance Spirit, is dedicated to exploring history, civics, and virtue, and uncovering the quiet forces that shape our collective destiny. If you've been moved by the power of melody as resistance, be sure to stay tuned for our next track, In Gadda Boom Gadda Boom. It's an audacious EDM art house protest anthem interweaving a bold synth anthem energy with whimsical, surreal hooks and Italian-style melodic flourishes. It's fast, fun, and subversive, a sonic mashup with a punch built on a driving beat, catchy vocal hooks, and that rising, unforgettable crescendo we've been exploring today. Subscribe, share, and let us know in the comments what melody is sounding for you. What protest song pulses in your pulse? Because the real story always has a soundtrack.
Gadda boom, I'm making the pasta, then I zoom. La dolce vita in a pot of stew. But what's this stench? It's not a ragu. Mama says vote, Papa says fight. Even Nonna shouting from the night, Libertana Justicia. Boom, 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 gadda, boom, boom, doom. When are we gonna stand up? When are we gonna rise? 5 million strong, that's your example. Now you lead with us tonight. We dance not for party, we rise for the truth. This ain't just a remix, it's your civic groove. I twirl my fork, what a sight. As freedom spills into the night, we marched in boots and silly shoes, but sang the law with auto-tuned blues. Stand up, boom, gadda, boom. Lead us, feed us, free us soon. To tease, yeah, dance the storm. Revolution in operatic form. In a gadda boom, we sang through storm and sonic boom, and now the square is full of light because we stood for what was right. La 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 Portos peregono kokorem, buranda boom, gadda boom. If you were just vying this at the best.